I'm back with the UFC 6 grappling attribute test. I know a lot of y'all have been asking and waiting for this one, but I wanted to make sure it was done right. And as always, make sure you guys drop a like and hit subscribe if this video does help you out. But yeah, I wanted to make sure it was done right, and it was done after the update came out, just in case there was any changes to grappling. So I will be covering all of these except for clinch, grapple, and takedowns, just because I could not think of a way to really test it, since I couldn't deny it myself. But we'll start off with bottom game, and similar to the way I tested the attributes in the striking video. If you haven't seen that already, go check that out. I will be using three fighters. I did my best to avoid perks, and I'm pretty sure for this whole video the perks aren't a problem. But I use a 3-star, a 4-star, and a 5-star versus the same person. In this case, it's going to be Alexander Volkov, who has 3.5-star top game, which is something I feel like you'll see a lot of online, like that kind of rating, 3.5. And I just felt like it was in the middle to test it out. But I will say I was surprised with the bottom game, because I thought the transitions would be a lot faster, and that wasn't the case. They were actually all the same. So I thought maybe the higher the attribute, the faster your grappling advantage builds up. But I tested it, I didn't include it in the video. But the grappling advantage did not build up any faster at any of the levels. I do think a higher star bottom game does help you get more reversals. Maybe it decreases the amount of stamina needed to get them. But moving on to clinch striking, I tested this the exact same way, 3, 3, or 3, 4, and 5, versus Imovov. One thing about these, any type of like damage test, is that every fighter has certain moves, and unfortunately, you can't edit or create a fighter that you know has every, like, the way that I would want it to be tested with like level 1 moves or level 3, whatever. You can't do that. So keep in mind that for some of these, maybe their moves are a little bit lower or higher than the next person. But I will say, for the person with the 5-star clinch striking, all of his moves should be 5, because his clinch striking was 5 stars. He's like a Muay Thai fighter or something, and you can see a giant difference in the damage for basically the caged and the regular clinch striking. And then even going from a 3 to a 4, you do see a little bit of a difference, and some of that could be move level. Like the 4-star fighter could have had, um, you know, the same move level, or maybe even one under, but the damage increase was there. Does make it worth it. But moving on to ground striking, same exact thing. We're gonna use Jeremy Stevens, who had a 3-star um, against Dan Hooker, and then we got Ruffy at the 4-star. But anyways, keep in mind also that the ground striking does have its own move levels as well. The good thing is about this, is that Khabib at 5-star should have like all his ground striking should be 5 stars. If not, like maybe one's a 4, but for the most part, should be all 5 stars. The other guys, maybe they might have some lower level moves, but as you can see here, like the damage does increase pretty significantly going to a 5-star. So it is kind of worth it to invest into. And I know just from my online career player, I did go 5-star ground striking just to see, and I noticed a pretty big difference going from 3 to 5. Like, you can actually put a lot of damage on somebody now, especially posturing up. But yeah, not insane damage compared to like stand up striking, but it's a pretty big difference. But it's a heavy investment. Moving on to submission offense and defense. Originally, I wanted to test these each separately, but you're gonna see why I ended up not. And even testing the defense, because I'm using Clay Guida as the defender of the submissions, and I believe he had a 3.5-star sub defense. So kind of testing that out against the different levels of offense, you're going to be able to see it. So I felt like I wouldn't have to go back and test out the defense anyways. So in previous years, or last year even, like the higher sub offense, like the more their stamina drained or the faster their stamina drained, that is no longer the case. Now it just helps you actually complete, or it helps you speed up your attack, like to close out the submission. I didn't include that part, but it does just speed it up now, which is a pretty big change. But moving on to top game, we have the same exact setup with 3, 4, 5. We're going to be using Ian Gary as the top game, and I kind of felt like this was going to be the same as bottom game, right? Like the speed isn't really going to be that big of a difference. All of these start at the exact same time. I broke it down to the millisecond. And as you can see, the 4-star level fighter Tyron Woodley already has a little bit built to his transition meter, and that is because he's closer to the cage. So just keep in mind when you are grappling, if you're closer to the cage, your transitions will be faster, at least in top control, but I believe its bottom is the same. And as you can see, the 3-star level fighter to the 5-star, there is a small increase, which is more than what bottom control had. But from 3 to 5-star, it's not much. You would think it'd be a lot more. I hope y'all either enjoyed the video or learned something from it. I test these out to the best of my abilities. And if you guys think I should go about some of these attributes a different way, let me know down in the comments. I was hoping to see a pretty big difference between a 3 to 5-star for some of these attributes, and I did not. But if you made it this far, make sure you guys drop a like and click subscribe to stay updated on other videos coming out.